Happy Thanksgiving and welcome to another episode of A-Town Rundown. We are the Miller Lite Boys, also known as Joey and Jeremy.
That's right.
Before we get into things, Jeremy had an exciting weekend, played a show in 529 in East Atlanta with Attila. How did that go?
It was great. Fantastic show. Crowd was killer. All day show. Started at 2 o'clock. Smoking turkey legs outside. A lot of local bands opening it up, and they all sounded great. Everybody kicked ass. Everybody was professional on time, and Tilla was nice to us and came out and rocked the place.
Hell yeah.
It was a killer night.
What's up, man? I haven't been to an all-day show in a long time. The last time I went to an all-day show that wasn't a music festival, I don't remember that. It was called like the All-Stars Tour or some shit like that, but it was when Every Time I Die. It was when Every Time I Die had their 20-year anniversary for Hot Damn and like Ringworm and fucking, it was either Iron Reagan or Municipal Waste and Terror. A bunch of bands fucking played, and then Every Time I Die played a full set, and then they came out and played Hot Damn all the way through. It was fucking amazing, but that was the last time I'd ever been to an all-day show.
Nice. Yeah, I missed that one.
That's fucking cool you were able to do that, man. I love that some mans are still banging. That's fucking awesome.
Last show of the year.
But before we get into the NFL Week 12, which was a wild week. I can't wait to talk about it. We do have some Hawks action right now, so I'm going to let Jeremy take the floor with that. Let's talk about the Hawks real quick.
Yeah, right now Hawks sitting at 7-5, looking like it's going to be 7-6 since they're down by 30 against the Wizards, who have one win right now.
Yeah, I was watching some of that game before we started. It's not looking good.
It's one of those things where it's like, the Wizards have one win, and you know how it is. And this happens in like all professional sports where, a bad team comes in and you just completely.
Happened to the Falcons against the Dolphins.
It happens to every team at some point in the season. Like, well, I don't know. If you're a great team, this won't happen to you, but with the Hawks, that's what I think it is. I think they went in there just kind of sleeping. It's an NBA Cup game, which you think would add a little more stakes to it, but I don't think that's really like taking hold of the players yet as far as like any pride in winning the NBA Cup.
I was about to say, do you really think the players have been super receptive to this whole NBA Cup thing? Because I don't think it carries as much as they were hoping that it would.
I mean, like for the players who don't make, that don't have a $15+ million contract, like. Yeah, I think that there's some incentive for them, but at the same time, it's like, you know how those players are. They don't really care about the regular season. It's all about like, can we get into the playoffs? That's when it really matters. I'm sure there's still plenty of like load management issues when it comes to playing the NBA Cup. But anyways, just to recap the last week. So last week when we were talking, we were playing Detroit Pistons, who are still the best in the East right now. We ended up not beating them, but close game, good game. Then we lost at the Spurs without Wembanyama, which, I feel like it was a winnable game. And then beat the Pelicans, who are a terrible team. They're not quite as bad as Washington, but we beat the shit out of the Pelicans. And that's kind of a double win for us because if you remember, we traded our first-round pick for an unprotected pick from New Orleans next year. And they're looking like they're at the very bottom. So it's very likely that we get a top 5 pick out of this. So us beating them makes that lottery pick a little bit better. Also, we had a pick swap. I think the pick that we got from the Pelicans, we're assuming is the Pelicans, is actually what the worst between Milwaukee and New Orleans is. So what could potentially happen is that both of those teams end up in the lottery, and whoever ends up with the better spot in the lottery, we get that pick.
Okay.
So that could be really cool. So you could have two ping pong balls.
It looks like it's going to work out really fucking well for us, to be completely honest.
Yeah, because Milwaukee's not doing great. Then we beat the Hornets last second, which a team that we should beat, but did beat them. Now we're losing to the Wizards. It is what it is, but I think the Hawks are going to be just fine. I think the East is so tight right now. Like you lose one game, you go from like 4th to like 9th.
Yeah,
and then you win a game, and all of a sudden you're back in 5th. So that's kind of where the Hawks are living right now. They really just need to go on like another 3 to 5 game win streak, and I think they can start to get to a more comfortable spot as far as like being in playoff position because, right now, like you could easily drop down to 8 through 12 and that's the play-in tournament. So we don't want to be there. We've been in the play-in. I think we missed the last year's play-in tournament, but every time that we've been to the playoffs has been through the play-in tournament the last couple of years. So we want to avoid that. You want to be able to know that you're getting a playoff series.
Yeah,
hopefully
you want to
get
just
home court
solidly
advantage.
be in the playoffs and not have to second guess another fucking tournament,
Right. So I got a good feeling that they're going to get there this year. The team seems that good. I think that we can calm down with the shit about oh, we could trade Trae Young, because when you look back at that road trip that happened 2 weeks ago, it's like, yeah, you beat the Clippers, who are bad, especially without Kawhi. You beat the Kings, who are bad. You beat the Jazz, who are bad. You beat the Suns, who are bad. It's like, I didn't expect them to go 5-0 on that road trip, and it's amazing that they did. But at the same time, it's like, let's not get too crazy. They won five. They won against 5 really bad teams in a row, and like, I'd like to see that to keep happening. You know, kind of seems, pointless
I
when you
think there's
lose
also
like this
just
to the Wizards, but
there's also, everybody just loves narratives and everybody loves drama. Everybody loves pointing fingers. Everyone's like, oh, well, look what they can do without Trae Young. Do they need him? Should they trade him? Should they? Everyone wants to play that game in their fucking head. But the truth of the matter is, we have Trae Young for a reason, and we absolutely fucking need him. So we don't need to entertain the idea of trades or anything like that. Once Trae Young comes back, the team is 10 times stronger, 10 times better. And if you're going to make a playoff push, if you're going to try to solidly be in the playoffs and not have to do a play-in tournament, and then again, even if you do need to do a play-in tournament, you need Trae Young. So we can cut that shit out already. Like, I'm sick of it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Trae is still a guy who can win you a game, like almost by himself sometimes, at least to the point where, like, yeah, he can have a 16 assist game and still put up 30 and you win by 2.
I always look back to that playoff game or the semifinals against Milwaukee, where Trae Young just stepped back and rolled his ankle on a referee who was just standing too close to him. And it's like, okay, well, in that series, we needed Trae Young, didn't we? Look what happened without him. If we had Trae Young for the rest of that series, we would have been in the finals.
Right. You can win one without Trae Young, and I think they did win the next one without him, but it's very hard to win a series at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, well, yeah, that's all I got for the Hawks. Let's get into the NFL.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the NFL. So week 12, we opened with Thursday Night Football. And also, speaking of Thursdays, this is going to come out on Thanksgiving. We're doing something very risky by releasing it on Thanksgiving because you're probably traveling, you're probably eating, you might be taking a nap, you're probably watching all the exciting football that's going to be taking place on Thanksgiving, because at the end of the show, I'll go over those games, and it is action-packed all fucking day. But if you're with us on Thanksgiving Day or the day after, we greatly appreciate it. But yeah, we're going to take that gamble. We're going to release that on Thanksgiving. But let's talk about last Thursday. Opened up with the Texans versus the Bills, and man, this was a fucking mess for Buffalo. We said on here that the Texans are going to win. We both called the Texans. I thought we were going to jinx it, but we were right. Texans 23, Bills 19 at NRG Stadium. The Bills dropped to 7-4, and the Texans climbed to 6-5. Now, they didn't have CJ Stroud in this game. CJ Stroud is still under concussion protocol from week 9 with the Broncos. I'm not sure when he's going to be back, but they ended up not. It wasn't that they didn't need him in this game, but they ended up being able to capitalize without him. The Texans won this game with straight up defense. Their defense absolutely dominated. They sacked Josh Allen 8 times. Their defense was so aggressive that you saw Shakir leave with a fucking injury. He did end up coming back, but right after Shakir left, you saw Will Anderson Jr. Come around, and he does this massive fucking run. I looked at the stat line from where he left his line, going around the O-line, then coming back behind Josh Allen, hitting him in the back on that blind side. He ran collectively over 20 yards to get to Josh Allen. He hit the absolute fuck out of him to sack him, to the point Josh Allen goes down, and you can tell he got a stinger, like something shook him. I jumped up and yelled, and I was like, oh no, Josh Allen's hurt. My wife's like, what's going on? I was like, Josh Allen's fucking hurt. He ended up not being hurt, but he had a terrible game. He went 24 for 34, 253 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he had a lost fumble. He took 8 sacks. The 8 sacks totaled up to be 70 yards lost. Their offensive line got completely cooked. Like, once Houston realized they could get to Josh Allen, they were just headhunting the entire fucking game. It was Will Anderson had 2.5 sacks, and Danielle Hunter had 2 sacks, and they were just living in the backfield the entire time. You did see some good plays from the Bills. James Cook had 17 carries, 116 yards. He had a touchdown, and he had a 45-yard house call, but then Matt Prater missed the fucking PAT, and that lingering point that he missed kind of stuck with him the whole game. Ray Davis, he had an amazing kick return for 97 yards. And then Khalil Shakir really was the only wideout he could depend on all day. So I really think that injury that he took kind of like shifted their momentum. I think if he stayed healthy the entire game, they could have won, because even with the injury, even leaving the field and coming back after the injury, he still had 8 catches for 110 yards. So he was the only reliable they had the entire game. but also there were penalties. There was no pass rush from Buffalo's defense. They didn't sack Davis Mills at all. They only hit him 4 times. And what Texas did right, I mean, 153 yards and 2 touchdowns by Davis Mills. He did have a slow start, but he led a 2-minute drive before half, and he hit Jaden Higgins for a touchdown with 5 seconds left in the quarter. Christian Kirk had a touchdown grab in the red zone. Woody Marks, I mean, you look at the numbers, like Houston destroyed Buffalo with this. And what it means for them is that's 2 losses in the last 3 for Buffalo. They have an offense that can explode because you saw them do it against Tampa, but then you're kind of looking back and it's like, well, the Buccaneers are kind of bleeding out at this point, and we'll get to them in a little bit. But their offensive line and their pass protections are now a full-on problem. And there's a lot that the Bills have to work around. If they don't, I mean, it's kind of becoming like, are they frauds at this point? Like, is everything all hype about Buffalo? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's really a lot about what I was saying over the last couple of weeks. Is it's really just the Josh Allen show at this point.
Yeah,
like you are getting production out of Cook, but it's not enough. It's like there's just really not enough going on out there. And if you can keep Josh Allen in the pocket and keep him from escaping and extending the play to where guys can get open and he can make those big throws, then you can beat him. Yeah. And almost any team can do it at this point, you know? Like I think that people are starting to figure that out. Man, Josh Allen's great. I have to say that every time, but like the MVP shit, like that's worn off now. Well, the team's not good enough to support that.
He's great, but his offensive line isn't. His team's not great. Like you just said, his team is not great. And in a game like this, when you're having to rely on your running back and your special teams to make touchdowns and you threw 0 touchdowns yourself, that's not a good look, especially for somebody who's coming off of an MVP season. Like, where do we go from here? You know, you had all the hope. Everybody was talking all this shit, saying how far Buffalo was going to go. Granted, I did as well. But that's because I cover football. I get excited about football. When something's going well, I'm going to be excited about it. Now it's just like, I don't know what to expect out of Buffalo for the rest of this game. I mean, you had that loss against Atlanta. You had that loss against Miami. It's kind of taking the wind out of your sails. And
even worse, the Patriots won't stop winning.
Yeah, the Patriots are not gonna stop winning, dude. The Patriots are on
so I mean, for
right
Buffalo,
now.
It's like you better turn it on now, because if you're not going to win that division, you're competing with the Chiefs now.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and we're gonna go right into that because speaking of the Chiefs, man, what a heartbreak for Indianapolis. This game against the Chiefs, they really did have the Chiefs against the ropes the whole time. Had to take them into overtime. Up until late in the game, Indy was solid. They had a strong lead into the fourth. They were leading 20-9. There was a tip that it was intercepted by Pat Mahomes, and it set up a short field touchdown for the Colts. They were moving the ball well in the first 3 quarters, long drives, touchdown throws. Daniel Jones, Mike Pittman Jr., Drew Ogletree, everything looked great. I will say the one thing they had against them is Jonathan Taylor really was stuffed. They really did have Jonathan Taylor's number, and I feel like it's starting to become this thing where if you can stop Jonathan Taylor, you can't rely on the rest of the team to make the win happen.
That's exactly what I was going to say about this game is like, and I think teams are also figuring this out. And the Falcons tried to do that. It didn't work out very well for us. And in fact, like if Jonathan Taylor didn't have the incredible day that he had, you know, one of the best games of his career, Falcons would have beat them too. But yeah, you got to stop Jonathan Taylor, which I know is not easy. Chiefs were able to do it, but make Daniel Jones beat you.
Yeah.
Like, is he that good?
I mean, I'm starting to think it might have been all Jonathan Taylor, because here's the thing. They shut down Jonathan Taylor, and then the Colts went 3 and out 4 straight possessions because Jonathan Taylor couldn't get anything going. And the Colts still sit 8-3. So they are still looking good. But, you know, if you're giving up key plays like that and Jonathan Taylor's getting shut down, you're really showing how vulnerable you are. And if you're going to be serious playoff contenders, you have to live through games, and you have to fix late games problems like this, especially when you're going to take it into overtime and you were once leading by 11 points. But like I said, let's go back to the comeback mechanics. Let's cover how they come back. With 8 minutes and 37 seconds left in the fourth, the Chiefs responded with a drive that ended in a 2-yard touchdown by Kareem Hunt and a 2-point conversion pass from Patrick Mahomes to Rashee Rice, and that cut the deficit from 20 to 17. All right. And then the Colts offense, they stalled. They went 3 and out. The Chiefs got the ball back on their own 6-yard line with 4 minutes and 43 seconds left. On that possession, Mahomes hit Rice for 47 yards, then a 19-yard gain, and then the drive culminated with a 25-yard field goal by Harrison Butker. Time expired 2020. Now you're taking it into fucking overtime, and overtime is when Daniel Jones got shut down completely and Jonathan Taylor couldn't get it moving. So Jonathan Taylor only carried the ball for 16 times for 58 rushing yards. That's not a stat you've seen from him all season. So Kansas City knew how to wake up. They knew what to do, and they completely stuffed it. And this is when things get scary when you're looking at the Kansas City Chiefs. This is the time of the year where they can come to life, where they do come to life, and they can stop you. And we've been talking about it all season long. This isn't the Chiefs we're used to seeing, but now they really are starting to wake up. And if they can stuff Jonathan Taylor like this, think about what they can do to the rest of you, because you take away a team's Honeywell and they have nothing to go to. That's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and I think that, like, just looking at how far ahead the Colts are, like, in the season right now, and how well they've been doing, this looks like it's a very well potentially could be a playoff matchup. But with the Chiefs, like, you got to slam the door on them.
Yeah,
you have to. If it's in striking distance, or if it's close to getting into striking distance, and you're in the fourth quarter, like, you got to beware. You got to put them away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, easier said than done, but that's the way you got to deal with that team. They are dangerous.
But it's also impossible when you look at Patrick Mahomes throughout his career. Like, this is what he's known for.
Borderline impossible, yeah.
This is him in his fucking element. This is what he does. I mean, unless he's playing the Eagles in the Super Bowl, this is what he does, you know?
Right. Yep.
So moving on, we have the Jets versus the Ravens, and this was a game that kind of caught me by surprise. I ended up actually texting you about this because going into halftime, the Jets were actually leading the Ravens, which is something I did not expect to see at all. A little further information on this, Justin Fields did not play. It was actually a coach's decision. They say that he's just not reading the pass right. He actually has, like, the lowest ranking in the NFL right now. So it was coach's decision to bench him, and they put in Tyrod Taylor. And Tyrod Taylor managed to put together a solid drive, 12 plays.
Future Falcon Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, you think? Because
I mean, he might be on that list, dude. Who's out there?
Because, I mean, yeah. Well, let's talk about him a little bit. Let's talk about him.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Because he started, 79-yard march in the second quarter that ended with a touchdown to John Mitchie, driving the pylon. He gave the Jets a 7-3 lead at halftime. Defensively, New York held Baltimore to just a field goal in the first half. The Ravens were stuck at 72 net yards and 0 on 5 third down in the first half. That's very impressive by the Jets. That's not something you expect to see from the Jets. And the rushing game had glimpses. Breece Hall put up 119 yards from scrimmage, which is nothing to sneeze at. But this is where the Jets started to falter. I don't know what the coach said to Lamar Jackson and the boys in the locker room during halftime, but whatever he said, I don't know if he threw holy water at him. I don't know if he screamed at him. I don't know what he did to them, but they came back and they came to life. They came out at halftime and they completely flipped the script. They put together an 11-play, 74-yard drive early in the third quarter, ended with a 2-yard touchdown by Derrick Henry. That gave them the lead 7-10. Then there were penalties, big ones. The Jets committed mistakes in the third quarter. For example, there was a pass interference call on third down by Tony Adams at the goal line that gave the Ravens fresh downs, and Henry punched it again. So that completely swings your momentum. Coaching and game management miscues. The Jets went for it on 4th and 2 from their own 42 early in the second half. They didn't convert, and that gave the Ravens great field position. So that's another thing the Jets had against them. So it's kind of like, when you look at it, it wasn't necessarily like, of course, the Ravens are more talented than you. Of course, the Ravens, have better players with you, but also it's just like,
and the Ravens are playing for something, and the Jets are not.
The Ravens. This is the Ravens' 5th straight win, by the way. Like, when Lamar Jackson came back, when he came back and said every game is a win or go home game, he fucking meant it, because they're doing that right now. But it's kind of like, we talk about coaching, we talk about miscues all the time. I feel like ultimately that's what the Jets had in this game. I feel like the Jets kind of beat themselves in this game.
Yeah, and I also think that, kind of an unsaid thing about this is, I know that they came back in the second half, but the defense came alive.
Yeah.
They got that 4th down stop.
Yeah, absolutely.
And which is kind of uncharacteristic of this Baltimore team this year. Like we've been saying all year, it's kind of the opposite of what you normally see out of Baltimore. Like, you're not seeing that Baltimore defense that is kind of their anchor. It's the offense that's kind of having to save these games. And this one, it was like, okay, they both came alive at the same time. But I still look at this as like the second half defense for the Ravens was more impressive than what they did on offense.
And then
because again,
back,
like you were saying, like all the penalties and stuff.
Yeah, and also going back to what we were saying last week about Derrick Henry coming to life. If you look at Lamar Jackson's numbers, he was 13 of 23, 150 yards, but he had 0 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Yeah,
and
great.
He only had 11 rushing yards on 7 carries. So Derrick Henry kind of led this team. So
I think
works.
They can still win that way. Yeah, I think they can still win.
Yeah, it works. It absolutely works. Breece Hall, like I said, he had 119 yards from scrimmage. But not enough. Just not enough.
Yeah.
Just not enough. It's not enough.
Jets
like I'm trying to pull at things for the Jets to be happy for, and they should, because Tyrod
Wait
Taylor.
till they play us next week.
Well, Tyrod Taylor coming in fresh, that wasn't bad at all. And Breece Hall Hall is showing glimpses that they might be able to work out something to get it done. I feel like the Jets are one of those teams that if they get good coaching on their side, if they get good schemes and good play calling, they're only a few draft picks and trades away from being a decent team,
Right. Yeah, they can get there, man. It'll be, at least a 2-year build on this. But they got some holes, man.
Yeah. All right, so moving along, we have another game I didn't expect, which is another game I texted you about. We had the Giants versus the Detroit Lions, and for a while, it looked like the Giants were going to win, but the Lions ended up winning in overtime.
Who started for the Giants today, on Sunday?
Jameis motherfucking Winston.
Yes, he's back.
Yes, he is back. And not only is he back, he was actually looking really fucking good out there.
He looked good. That first half, he looked really good.
He was setting NFL Twitter on fire with how good he was looking.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this is kind of a wake-up call for the Lions in a sense that, like, this is a game you should have went out there and you should have absolutely destroyed the Giants with all the problems they've had, all the injuries, everything going haywire with the Giants. They shouldn't have had you against the ropes like this. Like, yeah, you came out and you fucking went, but you only won because of your running back. Your running back did all the work. Yep. If you didn't have him and Amon-Ra St. Brown, you guys would have lost this game to the fucking Giants. So Detroit really needs to pull their heads out of their asses on this one, because if you're going to go like this against the Giants, you're not going to make it very far into the postseason, and you're going to be another joke for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and been saying this for a couple weeks. I feel like the Lions' offense has gotten stale. It's gotten stale, and I know that like Dan Campbell took over play calling on offense. I think last week, but it still doesn't look like that's made the big difference. Mm-hmm. You barely got away with one against a bad team that's hobbling.
And the Lions comeback was all on Jamar Gibbs. Jamar Gibbs had a 49-yard touchdown to cut it to 27-24, and then Jake Bates nails a 59-yard field goal, 27-27, sent it to overtime. Then first snap of overtime, Gibbs had a 69-yard touchdown run. So really, if you didn't have Gibbs on your team right now, you would have lost to the Giants straight up.
Yeah, those are big numbers. Yeah, you got a 49-yard rush, which means you leaked out and you got past, probably a missed assignment or something. And then, you get a big play like that to start overtime, and then you get a 59-yard field goal. Like this is all stuff that you should not. This is not the recipe for things to lean on. These are things that it's great that it happened, but it's almost luck. Those are almost luck plays.
And
59-yard field goal, like that's not something that gets hit every time in the NFL.
No, that is nothing but luck, and we can talk about that because
and that gets you to overtime.
And not only is that luck, a 69-yard rushing touchdown is luck. A 40 whatever yard touchdown to tie you up. That's nothing but luck.
A lot of good things have to go your way for that to happen. It's not just one player, just beast it. It ain't Marshawn Lynch. You know what I mean? Yeah. And even Marshawn Lynch, it's like things got to go the right way.
Yeah, but I swear to you, if you're that close to the goal line in the Super Bowl and you have Marshawn Lynch on your team, you better fucking give him the ball.
Yeah, I know. Still baffling to me. Still baffling to everybody in the NFL, man. Yeah, one of those things.
But let's touch on Jameis Winston, because this is how good he looked. He was 18 for 36. That's not a number I love, but he had 366 yards, 2 touchdowns, only 1 interception. He had a 93.1 rating, and he also had a receiving touchdown. He had a catch for 33 yards. It was a flea flicker pass by Olszewski. So, I mean, dude,
Jameis had Winston, like 400 total yards if you count that.
Jameis Winston was all over the fucking place. And then you had Jared Goff, who I don't like these numbers either. 28 for 42, 279 yards,
too much.
2 touchdowns and 1 interception. That's not
Damn,
a
and that's
very,
with the Jahmyr Gibbs like big
that's
rushing
with
plays.
it. That's with it. And that's what
Holy
I'm
shit.
saying. Because
Yeah.
you look at Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs only had 15 carries for 219 yards,
God damn.
2 touchdowns. He received 11 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown. So Jahmyr Gibbs totaled 264 yards from scrimmage and 3 touchdowns. You guys would not have won this fucking game without him. And then not only him, not only them, I forgot the other guy you got to include, Amon-Ra St. Brown. 9 catches. This is a wild stat too. 9 catches, only 9, 149 yards, 1 touchdown.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's
But you
what
got to
I'm
give
saying.
Jared Goff that credit too for those.
You do got to give Jared Goff that credit. But the thing is, like, I honestly feel like with the Lions, this does prove that they're resilient. You know, that's not for nothing. They are resilient. They
Wins
don't
a win,
give up.
even if it's ugly.
They don't give up. But the thing is, you're getting to this point where you have to rely on your running back, and you have to be like, all right, kids, save us. It's up to you. It's up to you.
Right.
And you
Falcons
gotta,
tried that.
it's good. It's good when somebody rises to the occasion. But what happens when you play the Chiefs? What happens when you play a team that can shut you down? That can pull the let's stop Jonathan Taylor on you. What happens then? What happens when it's not old reliable anymore? You know
what
what
happens
I'm
when
saying?
you play the Rams? You know.
Yeah, because that's the thing is like with the talent that they have, they shouldn't need one guy to bail them out, and that's why the Lions are. That's why the Lions were on the trouble watch. I'm taking them off right now periodically, but that's why they were there to begin with. Because you shouldn't have to rely on one guy to be a superhero team. Because straight up, let's just admit it, Gibbs saved them, and one guy saving your season, one guy saving a game, that's not sustainable. That's not something you can count on every fucking game. And like Goff was fine, but you have to trust him to erase deficits, and he's not doing that right now. He's solid when things are on schedule, but when things get messy, he becomes very average very fast. So these are key things that the Lions have to, tighten up if they want to take it any further than they are right now.
Yeah, and the Lions they've moved way down in the playoff standings. I mean, because I was thinking like, well, who would they have to face in the NFC? So, I mean, potentially they'd see they'd see a top team, man. They might have to play Philly or the Rams.
Yeah. Yeah, and with the way the Rams are playing, and we'll get to that, the way Matt Stafford looks right now, I mean, good God. Unreal. And also, Matt Stafford's going to love giving it to the fucking Detroit Lions,
Oh, yeah. And if that's a playoff game, then that's going to get a lot of coverage like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of, who won that trade. I think we all know who won that trade.
Yeah,
although
absolutely.
The Lions have looked good the last couple of years, but I mean, Stafford's got a Super Bowl. He's looking at possibly an MVP season.
No, and all honesty, I can't wait till we get to Matt Stafford because I've got a lot to say about Matt Stafford. But before we get there, let's talk about the Browns and the Raiders. Shador Sanders made his first. The Miller Lite's getting to me. Shador Sanders made his first legit start in the NFL this past Sunday, and the Browns were able to beat the Browns were able to beat the Raiders 24-10. It's kind of like you should be, you should give him his props. You should be happy for him. You should keep the champagne in the fridge because I think this is probably the easiest start he's ever going to have. The Browns offense, they weren't flashy, but it was kind of grown man. They controlled the clock. They stayed balanced. They avoided the whole "what are we doing here" mistakes like they've been doing all season long. You had Myles Garrett who got to the quarterback 10 fucking times, dude. Like
not
Myles
shocking.
Garrett,
not shocking.
Not shocking at all.
Yeah, the Raiders, I think I read something today. It was like they have the worst offense since the Saints in 2001.
Oh,
24 years ago. Yeah,
that's rough.
That's bad.
That's rough.
So, good job, Shador.
So, yeah, I'll tell him, the good thing about Shador is he didn't look overwhelmed out there. And rookies usually walk into their first start looking like they're trying to, defuse a bomb or like they forgot to fucking turn in their homework this morning. Like he looked good out there. Right. And, when you got a guy like Myles, I'm telling you, like, you're seeing Myles Garrett play happy right now. Like, especially, I mean, when you walk away from a game like that, the only thing is like, that's going to be your easiest game because the Raiders are completely bleeding out. Geno Smith is awful out there.
It's crazy, like the night and day difference from Geno with the Seahawks last year.
Yeah, I know,
now.
dude.
Like
I
the Raiders
know.
were like, hey, all right, we're getting a solid quarterback. At the very
Mhm.
least, we're getting a solid quarterback.
I think Raiders fans were actually excited to get him because he looked good, you know?
He did. Yeah, the Seahawks looked awesome last year, but I don't know what happened, man. He turned back into a pumpkin.
But you got to understand that begs the question: is that because the Seahawks were that good of a team? Because a good
Sam Darnold's
team,
having no issues over there.
that's what I'm saying. Because a good team can make a bad player look good, straight up.
Sure,
It
sure.
happens all the time in the NFL.
Absolutely.
But I will tell you, the real test for the Cleveland Browns is going to come next week because they got to play against the San Francisco 49ers, and if they play like this, cool. But if they actually get exposed, and that was just a fluke game because you were playing the Raiders, it's not going to be a fun day in the office.
I have a feeling it's going to be more like that. Dude, by the way, every time I hear Shador talk, man, it's like he sounds just like his dad. He sounds just like his dad when he was, in his 20s. But yeah, not to pick on the kid too much, but because I'm happy for him, I'm glad he won a game, and I know there's a lot of people like rooting against him. But like,
and now,
did you hear him talking?
Now
he was
do
like,
your thing.
He was saying something like, he's like, yeah, they were like, yeah, congratulations on the win. He's like, yeah, and that's only after 1 week of practice. 1 week of practice. You've been on the team all season, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. You haven't been practicing this entire time.
It's like, I'll tell you didn't take it seriously until they named you the starter?
I'll tell you, with the way he played last week, it looked like he hadn't been practicing all fucking.
It looked like he hadn't had a single week of practice. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree because it was really bad last week. And then you come out and you play competent and you beat a really bad team and good.
Yeah.
You're supposed to do that. If you want to be a starting NFL or quarterback, that's what you have to do. But to sit there just to hear him, and again, I ain't picking on him too much, but it is kind of funny to me. It's like, all right, man, settle down. You beat literally the worst team in the league. And again, what did I say? The worst offense in 25 years?
Yeah, dude.
Or I guess no, in 24 years. I guess the year before that there were
24
years.
Worse. But the thing is, like, I mean, only time will tell. And like I said last week, like, I love arrogant players, but the thing is, like, we've seen both sides of Shador because we saw how fucking awful he was last week, and then you saw how good he can be against a bad team. And like,
this is probably not his ceiling. Yeah.
Like, I think this game against the 49ers where he starts and plays a full fucking game.
Do you know if that's in San Francisco or if it's in Cleveland?
Let me double check real quick. I can pull it up real fast. But I do think that game is going to completely show you what to think about San Francisco, and it's in Cleveland.
Okay. Well, look, hey, Shador could have he'll be all over ESPN. That's all they're gonna fucking talk about if he beats them. Yeah. And he's got a better chance being at home.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, like that San Francisco 49ers offense is nothing like the Raiders. So you're gonna have to put up points if you want to keep up with them.
At the same time, the most recent game we have from the 49ers is against the Panthers, where they completely fucking destroyed them. But right now, the Panthers are kind of the Raiders at the same point. I mean, the Panthers,
unless they play the Falcons,
because
unless they play the Falcons.
Well, no,
fucking
that's what
Joe
I'm saying.
Montana's coming out wearing Bryce Young's uniform.
The Panthers look good in their division because the NFC South is so fucking terrible right now. But when the Panthers have to play any team that's not in the NFC South, like, they get demolished,
Right. Yep.
But moving on, we do have another NFC South team to talk about, not the Panthers, but the Buccaneers fell miserably against the Rams, 34-7. It was an absolute fucking beatdown. The Rams now sit at 9-2. They're sitting at the top of the NFC. The Bucs are 6-5, and they're sliding fast. This is their third straight loss.
Panthers are right behind them now.
Yeah. So the Rams, they opened up. It was just an avalanche from the beginning. They opened up. They had a 10-play, 80-yard touchdown drive, capped off with a short Stafford pass to Devontae Adams. And let me tell you, Devontae Adams and Matt Stafford are just having fucking fun out there. They look great together. It's awesome to see good football coming out of them.
Well, you got a great veteran wide receiver, great veteran quarterback. I mean, like, this is not that shocking.
Yeah, absolutely. And
great pickup for LA.
They jumped out to 21-0 early in the second. Stafford was dealing, and the Bucs offense was doing absolutely fucking nothing. The Bucs finally answered with a Baker Mayfield touchdown to Tez Johnson to make it 21-7. Then Kobe Durant jumps a route and takes a pick, 50 yards to the house, plus a Rams field goal. So now it's 31-7 at halftime and basically curtains. The Rams go conservative on this. They do the run game, short throws. They just try to keep it, at what it is. And then the Bucs offense had to put in Teddy Bridgewater because Baker Mayfield ended up getting hurt, and we don't know how long he's going to be out for now. But before he got hurt.
With that though, hold on. So he got hurt pretty early in the game. He goes out for a minute. They put him back in, and then he really gets hurt.
Yes.
So
yes,
nice job,
yes.
Todd Bowles. Nice job.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
With just that situation about the Baker injury.
Yeah.
Tells me this whole thing could go away.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, he didn't come back after halftime, and then he was seen with his arm in a sling, which I feel like could have been avoided if you took him out when it initially happened.
Same shoulder that he injured in Cleveland, by the way.
Yeah. And even before that, his numbers were nothing to write home about. He was 9 for 19, 41 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions before he left the game. Meanwhile, you had Matt Stafford, who was 25 for 35, 273 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 2 touchdowns to Devontae Adams, 1 to Colby Parkinson. The Rams scored on their first 3 drives, and this was Stafford being fucking MVP out there. It absolutely
surgical.
was. And then you bring in Teddy Bridgewater on cleanup duty, who, I don't know what you're supposed to do when it's 34-7 that late in the game, and you're Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, no offense to you, but
just gotta get to the end of the game, really. Yeah, but he wasn't gonna save them.
He did have more yards than Baker Mayfield. He went 8 for 15 with 62 yards, so he didn't have a touchdown though.
True, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if Teddy Bridgewater is the best they got. And this division's bad, man, but. I think they got to play Carolina again, and they have to play Atlanta again.
Yeah.
So this could fall apart for them.
Oh,
and Carolina could end up representing the NFC. Or the NFC South, I mean.
For the Rams,
NFC, hell no.
The Rams are on a 6-game win streak, and they're the top seed in the NFC. Their offense is balanced. Stafford hasn't thrown a pick in fucking weeks, and the Stafford-Adams connection is straight up unfair right now, like I've been saying. But for the Bucs are now 6-5. 3 straight losses. Their division lead is stripping away. Mayfield's shoulder, he's going to miss time. Teddy Bridgewater isn't going to be the answer you want. And honestly, as sad as it is for me to say this, Baker Mayfield, the MVP talks are done. It's not happening this year.
Nope.
You put it forth a great effort. It was a great Cinderella story. Everything looked great. I wanted it to happen so bad for you, but it's just not your year, man. It's just not.
And this is why we don't give out the MVP awards in the first 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Because remember we were talking about Baker maybe going for MVP and how he was kind of the front runner back in week 5 or week 6. Mm-hmm. Stafford, we didn't even bring him up. But when you're on a win streak like this and you have that long of a game streak with no interceptions and you're hitting multiple guys for touchdowns every game, that to me is he's about to start running away with it, I think.
Yeah. And this is a reason why. This is a reason why Matt Stafford might run away with it. If you look at it, he's already thrown for over 2,800 yards. He had 3 touchdowns against the Bucs right there. He hasn't thrown a fucking interception in weeks. He's top 5 in touchdown passes, yards, and EPA, earned plays allowed. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. Anyways, with Devontae Adams, he turned him into a true wide receiver 1. The mismatch against every cornerback he faces. The thing is, he does have rivals. There are other legit candidates. You still got Pat Mahomes out there, who's always in the conversation. Still got C.J. Stroud because he has numbers and wins, even though he hasn't played in a couple of weeks. You got Christian McCaffrey, who's looking amazing. If voters want to give running back some love, you got Jonathan Taylor, because there does come some age bias, and he is 37, and a lot of people don't, is more veteran savvy or anything like that. But right now, let's put it bluntly, the Rams are where they are because of Stafford. He's playing the cleanest, sharpest ball of his career. He's outplaying younger quarterbacks. He's carrying a roster that isn't stacked top to bottom. It's incredible. I just don't know what you can say about Matt Stafford that would not put him in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's playing conservative. He's getting massive yards with no turnovers.
Yeah. Going back to the trade with Detroit, this could kind of, because potentially with the way he's playing, this could mean that Matt Stafford wins 2 Super Bowls before Detroit has won one without him, so that irony in that is absolutely incredible. I mean, dude, he's
I'm
just
not going to say
lasers,
that just yet.
man.
Super Bowl's a long way away, but if you got the MVP, you're probably going to be in the conference championship at the very least, if I had to guess.
Matt Stafford, front runner for MVP. There's absolutely no fucking question about it. Yeah, and if he keeps going like this, I do see, I don't like to call it, but I do see the Rams being front runners to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl if they keep going on like this.
Me too. To me, they look like the best team. The Eagles don't look like they're the best team. Buccaneers have fallen off a cliff. Detroit doesn't look that scary. Packers don't look great. I mean, I'm sure I'm leaving someone out. Carolina, I think that they're kind of in the wild card. Not even going to mention them, but maybe in a couple weeks I'll mention them. But right now, I'm not mentioning them.
We'll see. Yeah. Because we're going to cover one more game, then we're going to trouble watch, and then we're going to talk about the Falcons. So, long story short, the Cowboys were able to beat the Eagles. It was a great game. It was a lot of fun to watch. And Dallas needed this win. So what it does is it kind of strongly secures Dallas in second place, even though the Eagles are 8-3, Dallas is 5-5. But now it makes their playoff hopes a lot better. I do love seeing the Eagles lose, so especially losing to the Cowboys, which is a team that I feel like they shouldn't have lost to, but that makes it even better. Hurts was just looking frustrated out there. Their run game just kept disappearing for long stretches. Their defense kept getting caught in bad matchups against Dallas's receivers. CeeDee Lamb looked fucking great out there. Pickens looked great out there. Dak Prescott was looking incredible out there. Dak Prescott's
still having a great season, man. If the Cowboys were doing well, he might be in the running. I don't think he'd be as good as Matt Stafford right now, but he'd be in the running for like an MVP. That's the way that
I think
he's kind of played like that.
I think that Dak Prescott is the best quarterback on a bad team. Straight up. No questions about it.
Yeah, I agree with that this year for sure. For sure. It's the Cowboys defense that's been kind of like the issue all season, but not in this game.
Yeah. When you look at Dak Prescott, 23 for 36, 354 yards. He threw 2 passing touchdowns. He did have 1 interception. He had an 8-yard rushing touchdown, which tied the game in the fourth quarter. Now, Jalen Hurts did have 27 to 39. He had 289 yards. He had 1 passing touchdown, and he ran for 2 touchdowns. But despite those stats,
touchdowns. One was a tush push.
Okay. Yes, it was. Yeah. And I was about to get to that in a minute. You took the words right out of my mouth because that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Because once again, if you don't have you don't have an Eagles game. If you don't have a tush push, the Eagles aren't playing a fucking game.
That's right.
But
if there's no tush push, it's not Sunday then.
But the tush push didn't save you.
No, and the problem is like they scored 21 in the first quarter. Look like they're going to run away with it. And then they do what they've been doing a lot this season. The offense completely dies. That first quarter, the Cowboys could not find A.J. Brown. They could not stop him. And then after that, they never went to him again, felt like. And then the Cowboys have everything they need to come back. And it's just like that game they almost lost to the Bucks where they had, -1 yards in the whole second half. I don't know what their total yards were in the second half in this one, but I bet you it's really fucking bad. I don't know if you have that up in front of you or not, but it really was a game.
I don't have it up in front of me.
Okay, but that's how this game went. It was 21-0. Yeah, we're celebrating. We're having a good time. We're going to win this game. And then, no, you didn't. Because the Cowboys have a serious offense. And if you're going to help their defense by playing like shit,
now they have a lot of momentum behind them too,
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I don't think they're not going to catch up to the Eagles or anything. I don't have any hope for the Cowboys this season because their defense has just been absolutely shit. But with the Eagles, it's like you got to stop doing that. If you're going to really contend in the NFC, when you play the Rams, you're going to get fucked. Because you're not going to be able to keep up with that offense. If you go to sleep like that and you want to think that you're going up by 2 touchdowns or even 3 touchdowns and go to sleep with all that time left, hell no. Yeah. You're not going to win shit this year.
Absolutely. And you know what? I just love seeing them fall. So
I don't mind it.
Now, do you have...
Not that I love the Cowboys or anything, but...
Do you have anything to add before we go into our trouble watch?
I don't think so, man. No, I think that's everything. Covered the Eagles going to sleep again. Talked about Shador. That's about all I got. Oh yeah. Now let me say this. Shout out Bears, man. I don't know how the fuck they keep winning these games. They haven't. It's like they haven't won a game by more than 3 points like all season.
You know,
maybe one game.
You know when they started winning is when we started ignoring them. When we quit mentioning them in the podcast is when they all of a sudden started winning.
I got too many Bears fans in my life that are not going to fucking let me lose.
Next week, I'm going to start covering the Bears. I'm going to start calling Caleb Williams the MVP. I'm going to start talking about how they're going to win the Super Bowl, and then we'll see what happens to their season.
Yeah, well, I got to go have Thanksgiving dinner with my father-in-law, who's from Chicago, diehard Chicago sports fan. And that's all I'm going to hear about. He probably isn't even really watching that much this season, but he knows that my team has been sucking and that his team's actually kicking ass for the first time in a long time.
Well, you know what? Just fucking one-up him. Tell him to hit you with some stats. Tell him to actually be about it if he wants to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, don't talk to your father-in-law that way. Don't actually do that. Don't do that.
He and I like argue as like a competitive sport. Like and it could be about sports. Like, you know, we got the family yelled at us one time because we were arguing about the infield fly rule, and like almost like they thought we were getting aggressive, and you know, cousin Jimmy just like yelled, like raised his voice. We were at his house, and like he and I were like, "Whoa, what?" And they're like, "You guys got to stop arguing like this." And me and him looked like we weren't even really arguing. You know, it's just how we talk to each other.
This is just guys talking about sports. That's
exactly
just how we talk.
So every time I see him, we're gonna get
girls. Guys and girls.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, ladies, especially ladies that like sports. You know, dude, I get into it.
I know some ladies that know more about football than I ever will, and it's very respectable. So,
sure,
no bias.
Man. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this: there's a lot of like chick sports reporters that I listen to on podcasts and stuff that know way more about the game than me. Way more.
God, her name is slipping me because I want to mention her, but she's on the morning show on 92.9, and she's badass.
Allie Mack.
Yeah, Allie Mack. She's fucking great.
Yeah, she's good. Yeah. And then for the Falcons, Tori McElhaney. She's always on like the official like Falcons post game show with Dave Archer. The podcast that they do on Mondays. She's great, and she's always got. Dude. I mean, obviously, she's got great insight because her job is like to be in the locker room and ask these questions. But like she knows what she's looking at, and she can explain to me what I'm looking at a lot of times. You know what I mean?
And
like,
I mean, we even grew up with some of the Trailblazers. Like it was kind of the cutting edge when we were like in our middle school era, like with Michelle Tafoya and stuff, you know, like that's when it was really starting to go. And like, I mean, dude, like sports, I always like gender bias at all. With Doris Burke's the shit, dude. Doris Burke is awesome. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it really has no gender bias at all. Like, if you enjoy the sport, let's fucking talk about it. I don't care, you know, who you are.
Yep. Same here.
All right. But now
unless you like the Saints.
Yeah. And I mean, well, this week I would love to talk to you about the Saints. This week I would love to talk to you about the Saints, you know? But before we do that, because we will, let's hop into the Trouble Watch. All right. Baby. So this week on the Trouble Watch, I'm going to start it off strong, and I'm going to put the Buffalo Bills on there because the window for them is closing. There's so much inconsistency from Josh Allen. You see the highs of his MVP level caliber coming out, and then it's just shut down. Because it's kind of to the point where the offense is basically like, all right, I'm going to give it to this one receiver. And then you saw in the game when Shakir goes down, what do? You can't just rely on James Cook. You can't rely on special teams to win games for you. You've got to come to life. You've got to play like you're a fucking MVP. And I'm not seeing it out. That doesn't mean they can't turn around. That doesn't mean that they can't. But the thing is, even if they do, I have a feeling that we're going to see Buffalo do what Buffalo does, and they're going to get their shit together. They're going to go on a tear, and they're going to lose in the first round of the playoffs like they do every year. And I don't know what it's going to take for Buffalo to go further in the playoffs than when they meet, you know, Patrick Mahomes or some shit like that. I don't know what it's going to take to see Buffalo in the Super Bowl, but it's not going to happen this year.
They got to get lucky and not see the Chiefs. But I think that the reason they're on the Trouble Watch is that they're in danger of maybe not making the playoffs because of the way that the AFC is right now. Is that doesn't look like Kansas City's going to win their division. It definitely doesn't look like Buffalo's going to win their division. So now you're going to end up seeing Kansas City early, or you're going to be competing with them for the last one of the last two spots in the playoffs for the wild card.
And also
if that's the case, like I don't feel if I had to bet on one or the other, It would definitely be the Chiefs right now. So that's why they're on trouble watch, because
But
this
it
whole
also
Super
goes
Bowl
back,
dream and this might be our year, that's slipping away fast.
but it goes back to what you have been saying this whole time about how these cocky ass teams keep coming out and undermining the other team. Because let's say what happens if all of a sudden, like fucking you see Jacksonville against the Bills or some shit like that.
Sure. Take them
Jacksonville's
lightly.
Yeah, they're going to take them lightly, and Jacksonville's going to beat you just like Jacksonville did with Kansas City. And the AFC race is too fucking tight right now,
especially if Jacksonville gets a home game. On.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Jacksonville could actually do it with the way they've been playing recently. Like they've definitely been a hit or miss team, but they've been coming to life against teams that they should not beat, like the Chargers, like the Chiefs. And they're not just beating these teams, they're beating them well. And they shouldn't be winning these games, but it's because they keep being undermined by the opponent.
Right. Yeah. And, Jacksonville's one of those teams that's just kind of quietly hanging in there. And like, I look at them as like, okay, they're pretty damn good. Like they can beat good teams and they look pretty solid. They don't look amazing to me. Not a Super Bowl contender, but they're the kind of team that can knock you out, Buffalo. Like they can keep you out of the dance. Or once you get there and you got to see them early and you go, oh, this is going to be easy. And all your fans are thinking about the divisional round. You may not get there.
Yep. So we aren't necessarily talking about the Bears, but we kind of are with this one because I got the Steelers on trouble watch and they did just lose to the Bears on Sunday. And honestly, their quarterback play is just a roller coaster of inconsistency. They haven't been, on fire since Le'Veon Bell was the thing. And that's been a long time,
Yep.
And right now the AFC wild card is just a fucking fist fight. And the Steelers did not bring their boxing gloves. You know what I mean?
And the Steelers, like we're leading their division, and here come the Ravens.
Yeah.
And this is what I was saying a couple weeks ago. The Ravens, their schedule looks like they could catch up and steal that division easy. And they got another chance. Yeah, they got another chance to play the Steelers. So this the Steelers definitely appropriate to be on trouble watch and trouble watch means that like you're there, you're in the hunt, but things aren't looking that good.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about you.
Like you're sweating.
Yeah, I'm
right
worried
now.
about you. That's the trouble watch. And for the Steelers, here come the Ravens.
Because that's the thing,
they're coming in hot.
There's trouble watch, and then once you're bad, we just don't warn you anymore. We're just like, whatever. we tried to tell you. We tried to tell you.
Yeah. Right.
And a team that we're trying to tell, even though I hope they don't listen, is the Carolina Panthers, because God, they are living in trouble right now. In all honesty, it's almost like they should be in the just bad talk, but the simple fact that they're in the race for the NFC South. Yeah, that's the thing. They're in the race for the NFC South, so they're technically on trouble watch, even though if they were in any other fucking division, they would just be bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And, with the Panthers, it's like I almost kind of elevate them into trouble watch, where it's like, okay, well, if things go good enough for you, you can get out of trouble watch and actually be, in the race because they're right behind the Buccaneers. I think they play the Buccaneers again. The problem with the race for the NFC South, and I'm not even going to mention the Falcons because too many good things have to happen for them to get back in this. And I'm not saying that they can't. Like mathematically, they still can. And we'll see how it looks in 3 weeks, and we'll talk about that if they're in it or not. But with the Panthers is that the Bucs have a much easier schedule coming up to finish the season than the Panthers do. So the Panthers, they got to start playing even better.
But they're not going to finish
strong. They're going to do this. I don't think so. Because if they're not playing a team called the Atlanta Falcons, they don't look that good. Oh, you talking about Buccaneers?
Yeah,
with Bridgewater. Yeah. I agree. So. Panthers could, fall into a division championship just by showing up for certain games. I mean, I know they get their ass kicked every other week, but sometimes they kick someone else's ass.
But at the same time, you have a coaching staff that's trying to fix, decade-long problems with duct tape pretty much, and they have roster holes everywhere.
It won't do anything outside of the division championship, but it is possible that they at least get that.
Let us also be very clear.
That's a home playoff game.
Yeah, and let's also be very clear. Jeremy and I are through and through Falcons fans. We are very biased Falcons fans. Now, when it comes to the show, when it comes to us covering NFL football, when it comes to us talking about football for a brief, hour and a half, 2 hour window, we put our bias aside and we talk about football. We talk about how the players should do. We talk about football, how we want to see it. That does not mean that I am a Panthers fan, but it means I'm going to talk to you about the strengths of their team in a non-biased way and tell you what they can do to turn their season around, but I don't want them to.
Yeah, same here. And I don't want the Bucs to win it either. I hope they both just free fall and the Falcons win a couple more and we barely get it and we get in, one game under 500, we win the division. I don't know. Who knows what could happen?
But as somebody that covers the NFL, like we do very amateurly here, I want nothing more than to see good, exciting, monumental fucking football games. I want to see Cinderella stories. I want to see teams that shouldn't win. And, if my Falcons aren't going to do it, let's see somebody else fucking carry the torch, and I would love for it to be an NFC South team.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really feel that way. Like if the Saints were to make it and represent the NFC South,
okay, except
and they're playing
Saints.
Against the 49ers, like two teams that I hate. Well, I mean, let's say the Panthers, like Panthers versus 49ers. Like I don't want the Panthers to win. I don't want to hear about that shit next year.
No, dude, I absolutely do because I would much rather see the Panthers win than the 49ers win. Much rather.
Yeah, but I don't know, dude. That's that college football mentality.
The Falcons are down and out. They're not going to play anymore. It's not like I just stopped watching football. I don't just stop watching football when the Falcons don't make the playoffs because then I wouldn't watch any. Then I wouldn't watch any postseason football.
No, yeah, and you wouldn't have for the last almost decade. But
so when it comes to that, it's kind of the thing. And yes, it is akin. It is akin to college football because once Georgia Tech doesn't make it, I want to see an ACC team win
because you think that it makes Georgia Tech look better because that's their competition. It's like,
well, it makes your division stronger. It does.
It does, but what if they're the only good team in that division? Does that make and I'm not saying with Georgia Tech, but let's say I don't know. I know people that let's just say the NL East. Well, I'm going to root for the Phillies because it makes the Braves look better. It's well, the Braves look like shit, and so did everyone else in the division. The Phillies were the only good ones in that division. It doesn't make you look any better at all.
Well, to me, it kind of breaks down like this. It's kind of like let's say the Panthers do go all the way, very hypothetically. Then, as the Falcons front office, well, we've got to face these guys twice a year, and we're in the same division of them. If we want to get any further than them, we have to strengthen our team. And then the Buccaneers think that same way. So I think if for a collective as a division, having a champion in your division, having a strong team in your division, granted, you're always going to have bottom barrel teams in every division you are, but I think it makes your division more competitive, which makes more of a draw for you to be able to get better players on your team to beat the people in your division. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let me ask you this though. This is a counterpoint. Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl not too long ago. Did anyone in our division get good since then?
The Falcons tried to.
Did the Saints get good?
No, but
did the Panthers get good?
But the Saints also had a lot of fall aparts. They also had a lot of people retiring, a lot of people getting injured, a lot of, you know what I'm saying? But the thing was,
we had disasters too.
But the thing, that's what I'm saying. When it came to the Falcons,
we lost Matt Ryan.
But the thing was with the Falcons, at least the attempt was there. We at least tried. We at least made draft picks. We at least made trades. We at least attempted to do things. We just have a very shitty fucking culture, a very shitty front office, and terrible coaching. All right, so let's hop into how the Falcons were able to beat the Saints. Speaking of the Saints.
Rise up.
So, finally, you see a quarterback that plays under center. You see a quarterback that's composed, comes out there, act like he knows what he's doing. Granted, he did throw a pick six that I don't really love talking about, but that did happen.
I do want to talk about that. That pick six hit Kyle Pitts right on the hands, man.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, it was a laser. And Kyle Pitts, he got distracted. He stopped looking.
Yeah, I know. And it goes back to what I was saying a couple of weeks ago, maybe even last week. When it comes to having to get rid of people, when it comes to having to trade people, when it comes to having to make roster moves to get somebody better, I think I keep proving a solid case that we can continue on without Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I'm at the point where it's we can let him go. We can let him go. If you sign him and it's a good deal, fine. But it's never going to live up to
out of him.
It's never going to live up to
there.
the 4th overall pick. It's never going to.
He's not a fucking unicorn. He's not a unicorn.
No.
What is
even if he goes to the Rams and becomes that guy, it's not going to.
No, but
it's
what
not going
is
to
a
make me feel like we should have
unicorn is
drafted
having that good of a pick and using it on somebody that I'm seeing absolutely nothing produce from.
Right. We're gonna be talking about it for a long time. Like, and for 20 years, we're gonna be talking about the 4th overall pick, which in the NFL, man, especially in that draft, you could have threw a dart at the fucking draft board and got somebody good. And you got Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I mean, did you see the people who were drafted after him? I mean, Jamar Chase was one of them. You know,
Jamar Chase was the next
Jamar
pick.
Chase. Could have had Jamar Chase.
Penei Sewell, the offensive lineman for Detroit, already like playing Hall of Fame, like putting up Hall of Fame numbers.
Yeah.
And then who else? The guy that went to the Packers this year from the Cowboys.
Micah
Parsons. Yeah, he was there. He went much later. I think he was like after 15, but still, it's like many guys in that draft.
Any of those players that were drafted basically immediately after him, I would have preferred over Kyle Pitts.
If you had Jamar Chase and Drake London.
Yeah.
How fucking crazy would that be?
Just think of Jamar Chase, Drake London, and Bijan Robinson all in the same backfield.
Oh, it'd be incredible. It'd be incredible. But yeah, let's get through the game, and then we're gonna break it down.
Yeah, so Kirk Cousins, 199 yards, two touchdowns. He snapped their 5-game losing streaks. Their defense stepped up. They prevented touchdowns. There was a fourth quarter blow, though. Darnell Mooney, 49-yard touchdown that basically iced the game.
Yep.
The Saints.
It's been a while since we've seen anything like that.
Yeah, and the only Saints touchdown they had was that pick six that we just mentioned by Justin Reed. That's not exactly how you get a win with a one touchdown from a pick six. Their rushing game was flat. They only had 79 yards, and I think Alvin Kamara even left the game with an injury. You know, they really needed this game, but the problem is what you and I were talking about earlier is you're seeing things finally happen that we should have seen before. And the number one is playing under center. And then it even gets called out to Raheem Morris and about, you know, Kirk playing under center. And he was basically saying, you got to play to the quarterback strength. So that immediately tells me.
No, he said, you do what your QB can do. That was his quote.
Exactly.
Which, yes, go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Which leads me to believe that, I know you're ready because we've been talking about this all day. It leads me to believe that there's more to the surface than what we're seeing. I'm starting to believe that the reason they always set Penix up the way they did was because he's not capable of playing under center. And they were trying to morph him into this quarterback that he's not capable of being. And they basically were beating a dead horse, knowing that, like, hey, this is what we got. This is what we're going to have to do. It's not working. But I think it's starting to boil down to maybe Michael Penix just isn't a good quarterback. And they were trying to adjust their entire scheme to cater to him, and it wasn't working.
Okay, the only thing that I have to say about that is that we were still doing this pistol bullshit last year with Kirk. And I thought that was because of his Achilles. But then this game, it's like all that's out the window. And we did come out under center a little bit more. I'm really thinking about like the first game against Pittsburgh, the first game that we had Kirk Cousins, where it's like we didn't go under center at all. And we didn't do play action at all. And then we went on Monday night against the Eagles. And all of a sudden, like he's lining up under center in the first series. And he's running play action. And I think I've said this on the show before, but like in Minnesota, Kirk Cousins was the number one under center play action quarterback in the league. Like he was the most successful at it. And we just never catered to that. And I thought it was because of that injury. Now, this year when we started with Michael Penix was supposed to be like a healthy young quarterback who had a lot more talent, and they didn't do it at all. And with this game, it's like, you know, where did this come from? Like, what made Zach Robinson make the change? Like, what finally made it click? And as I was watching the highlights again today, like before we did the show, I was like, I wonder if Kirk like went to Zach Robinson and was just like, look, man, I'm starting. I personally think that I'm going to have a better chance to succeed if I'm playing under center. Can you drop some plays for me to be under center? I know that they're in that playbook. But the way that Raheem Morris said it was, you do what your QB can do, which is, you know, like you were saying, like, can Michael Penix just not play under center? Can he not drop back 7 steps, 10 steps? Are you kidding me? And as an NFL quarterback, and if you knew that, why did you deviate from this plan of him sitting behind Kirk Cousins? Because now you've wasted the entire Kirk Cousins contract. You've wasted it. Because if he was if he was the healthier option, or even if he wasn't the healthier option, but he was healthy and you could run your actual offense, which we thought last year when Michael Penix took over after the Kirk Cousins injury / benching, because I can't really tell which one it is because he didn't tell anyone he was injured until after the season was over. But he got benched and Michael Penix took over. And I'm pretty sure that the Zach Robinson quote was like, well, Michael opens up our entire playbook. We can do everything now. But you can't do play action under center.
You can't, though. And that's the thing.
And that 49-yard touchdown, wasn't that a play action play coming from under center?
It was. And that's the thing, too, is like there's so many things that Kirk was doing that Penix just doesn't do. And let's start with protecting the football.
You mean going through progressions?
Well, not only that, protecting the football. Like when it comes to Penix, there's so many turnovers, there's forced throws, and there's drive-killing mistakes. Kirk wasn't doing any of that. He kept the offense on schedule. He was playing like a grown man. And this is another thing, going back to your point, I don't think they ever should have deviated from the plan of having Penix learn from Kirk Cousins, because a game like he played on Sunday against the Saints is something that Penix should have taken note from, but now it's too late. Now he can't take note and come back and play. Now he's fucking injured. Now he's out for the rest of the fucking season.
He's not thinking about playing right now.
No, he's not even fucking worried about it.
There's no way in hell that he starts next season. There's no way. And look, let's say Kirk runs the table and he wins out. Like, I still stick to what I was saying last week. I don't think we can afford to keep him. I don't think we can afford to. And I think the best thing for us is that he plays well and someone signs him and we don't take a dead cap hit for cutting him.
But even if Kirk Cousins could, I don't think he wants to stay in Atlanta.
I don't see why he would. And look, it was good to see Kirk like getting hype, and then after that 49-yard touchdown to Mooney, guys were picking him up and carrying him around. Like the offensive line was like, everyone was so excited, and it looked like, all right, this was the Kirk that we had last year, and that nice stretch that we had from him, where it looked like we were going to run away with the division for a while. We were up 3 games in the division before that skid happened when he got injured in New Orleans last time. But rematch in New Orleans from last year, he came out and he looked like a completely different guy as far as what we saw at the end of the season last year. But this looked like a completely different offense. It wasn't all relying on Bijan. It wasn't just throwing to the outside to London.
You couldn't rely on Bijan, and London wasn't there. So
exactly. Well, Bijan still had a pretty nice game, but it was not. We didn't put it on his shoulders, which was nice. But there's a stretch where it seemed like that's all we could do.
There's also other comparisons against Penix and Cousins that I actually wrote down. And it's like with Cousins, you have good tempo, you have quick decisions, you have no panic. He gets into the right checks. He takes what the defense gives him, and he doesn't force the ball into hero ball moments. When it comes to Penix, he's holding the ball. He takes unnecessary hits.
He says, "Is London open? No. Is Bijan open? No." And then I'm going to get an intentional grounding.
Yeah, and he misses all of his timing windows, and he struggles with full field reads. He can't read the fucking field. Like, let's be honest, he doesn't know how to read the fucking field,
because it's never nothing's ever happening over the middle. And Kirk was hitting over the middle the whole game. Another comparison when it comes to Cousins converting red zone chances, he sustained drives and he finishes drives. When Penix is there, he has 0 red zone execution, he has 0 third down rhythm, and he closes out drives by giving the ball away in drives that start strong. Yeah, and also Kirk was hitting every receiver that he had. And I don't think that there was a game with Michael Penix where he hit as many receivers as Kirk did on Sunday.
He throws to Pitts and he throws to London and he gives Bijan the ball. That's all he does.
Or he'll look for Bijan on that little bubble screen, But when we were running under center and we were hitting other receivers, there was a moment where they weren't looking at Bijan. So it's like, oh, that bubble screen actually worked this time because we're getting the ball to different guys. Everyone has to be covered. David Sills got a fucking touchdown on Sunday. There was no way in hell that was ever going to happen with Michael Penix.
Yeah. And there's also so much leadership that goes into it when you have Cousins out there, because the offense was just running cleaner, like you were just saying, and there was no chaos. There was no quarterback confusion because he's not the young guy out there, and ultimately there were no wasted drives. If you want to call the pick six a wasted drives, you're a fucking fool. That was a dart that should have gone into Pitt's hands, and that's why I'm going back to the fact that if we get rid of anybody, if we don't have draft capital, we traded that away, we don't have a whole lot of money. If you want to free up some fucking money, if you want to get a good, just decent fucking player to come on your team on either side of the fucking ball, you can trade away Kyle Pitts and do it, and I'll be completely fine. I won't lose any sleep.
Yeah, well, if you're going to trade him away, you got to re-sign him to his option, which you could do.
Yeah, That's true.
You know what I mean? Like we'd have the best shot at like getting him for cheap and then trading him like during the offseason.
Yeah.
Like you could do that. Or you could let him walk.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I would let him walk. I would.
And go get you a regular tight end. You know, just go get a regular
tight end
tight
that blocks. Just get a tight end that blocks. You know?
Yep.
You know?
And that can leak out and, you know, hit a little out route over by the first down marker.
Let's be real. Like those tight ends you see.
Nothing crazy.
Like when you think of tight ends, the tight end game has changed so much because you see the George Kittles, you see the fucking Travis Kelce's, you see the Jimmy Grahams, you know, you see the fucking Darren Wallers. Those guys are a diamond in the fucking rough.
Yeah, those are special players.
You're not going to get another Tony Gonzalez. What you need to get is an Austin Hooper, a guy
get a Zach Ertz, somebody like that, you know? Like, and those guys are out there. There's plenty of guys coming out of college who can play like that.
Get a tight end that plays their fucking position and every now and then gets a fucking slot pass. And, oh, wow, the tight end have the tight end that you're like, oh, my God, the tight end got a touchdown. Not I'm throwing to the tight end as if he's a fucking receiver.
And in this game, like, because we were lining up under center, like, more than we ever have under Zach Robinson, we were running these, like, 3 tight end sets, like, very heavy. And it worked. And it was like, and we did it more in this game than any team in the NFL has done it all season. And it's like, where was this, Zach Robinson? Where was this? You wanted to be this team that could have like a stout line that you could run with, or you could at least fake play action with.
Yeah.
And now you want to start doing it? Now that the season is all but fucking hanging by one finger hanging off the cliff. You got one finger on the cliff. That's where we are right now. And Zach Robinson says, you know what? Maybe I should stop doing all this predictable pistol bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What the fuck happened? Like, what happened this week that, like, did Arthur Blank come in there and say, like, listen, if y'all don't win every single fucking game, you're all out of here? And they're like, okay, now I'm going to take it seriously? Because I still want these motherfuckers out of here.
But circling back to what I was saying about not thinking that Penix is even able to play under center, it goes back to college because when he played in Washington with DeBauer, his whole system was shotgun, RPO, spread reads, quick timing, and vertical shots. That was it. Mm-hmm. He is not an under center quarterback. So I feel like maybe every now and then you would see him do it. And that's what I'm saying. Every now and then you would see him do it in a game and you and I would get excited. We'd be like, oh shit, they're actually playing under center. But
I texted you during that Indianapolis game and I was just like, I was like, did you see that? They were under center. It was fucking beautiful.
But it dates back all the way to college with him. Is like, you got to think like, for his 4 years in college and now into the NFL, he is not an under center cornerback. And I feel like they've been trying to overcompensate and they've been trying to play to that, and it's not successful. You can't have an NFL quarterback that doesn't know, because at the end of the day, I don't think he knows how to comfortably play under center because it's not a scheme he's ever run. And in the NFL, you can't fucking do that. We've seen how unsuccessful it is in the NFL. And
you don't think that he did dropbacks in like high school and shit?
I'm not saying he didn't do it, but I'm saying he's just been so conditioned to not do it. He's been so conditioned to the shotgun and RPO that under center is, I'm not saying he can't do it. He's just not comfortable. He's very obviously not comfortable doing it.
Yeah. And I think that like so say you cater that and you say, I'm not going to do under center because I want to put Michael Penix in a better position. But like, aren't you hurting like Algier and Bijan by making them line up in pistol every fucking time?
Absolutely.
By making them start fucking 8 yards behind the line?
We've seen it. Why do you think it's gotten to the point where Bijan isn't the best player in the NFL right now because of what he's had to do and overcompensate for? Yeah,
and I don't know, man. Like, put yourself in Zach Robinson's mind, in his weird circus brain mind where there's fire twirlers and fucking, you know, all kinds of circus freaks around, because I don't know what the fuck's going on in this guy's brain ever. You know, like, are you really going to stake your entire like play calling career in the NFL on, I'm going to cater to this young kid who I don't think can actually run an NFL playbook?
No, I mean,
or would you just like make him do it and say, all right, man, like you got to put up or shut up. This is the playbook. This is how we win games.
I'll tell you what I would have done. I wouldn't have made him my fucking starting quarterback until I saw enough out of him in practice to where I was comfortable enough to have him go out there and play under center like you're supposed to do when you're a starting fucking quarterback in the NFL.
Right. It's like we're seeing better success quarterback wise from like guys like Joe Flacco, you know, who are in their 40s, who was never like an MVP quarterback. You know, he's not. I mean, you could say Aaron Rodgers,
Super Bowl championship though.
He sure does, and he was on a fucking great team that year. and it didn't happen without him. But like, I'm not going to act
Yeah.
like he was like he was Aaron Rodgers
But
or he was Peyton Manning.
I will say, no, he did win that ring because that year he had one of the greatest defenses of all time.
He did, and he could run the offense, and this is what sometimes guys like say, like, oh, he's a
that's what
game
you need.
manager,
No,
but that's what I want. That's what I want, and that's what Kirk Cousins was on Sunday.
And that's what you need, because if you have a stellar defense, which granted we do have a stellar defense, that we got a lot of young guys out there,
and we got to talk about that here in a second. Yeah.
But if you just have a quarterback that can command the fucking game, because like you said, Joe Flacco isn't the flashiest, isn't even the best quarterback, but he won a Super Bowl. And you know how he won a Super Bowl? By commanding the fucking game. What Penix does is he turns his back on the defense. He doesn't know how to do play action footwork. He can't time anything under center, so they won't put him under center. And he doesn't know how to command the game. And he also doesn't know how to communicate with his coaches. He's missing the plays, missing the reads, getting frustrated out there. You need somebody who can put the game into their own hands and just manage the game, who can play their strengths. Maybe they're not hanging out. Maybe they're not talking outside of the game. Maybe he just reads the playbook. He gives them what they get. They're like, hey, Michael, I see that you like to play this, so we're going to play this, that, and that. And that's all he does. That's all he practices. That's all he gravitates towards. With a guy like Joe Flacco, he can be like, all right, I know what this guy can do. I know what this guy can do. I know when it's time to run it. I know when it's time to check down. I know when it's time to play action. This is how the game's going to flow. Me and the coach, I'm going to tell the coach I don't want to do that. I'm going to tell the coach we're going to do this. That's what you need out there. That's what won games.
And I'm not going to say I've never seen anything good out of Michael Penix, because I certainly have, seen some flashes.
Until he got hurt, he was playing the best game of his career.
He was, that first half
he got hurt.
was against Carolina. Yeah, he was playing great, man. I think he was like 11 of 12, like that whole first half or something, if I remember right. But I think the problem with Penix sometimes is like, he's asking someone else to win the game. It's like if all right, Drake, I'm going to put this up, you go get it, and then, which you should do at times. But it's like if he can't get it to Drake,
not every fucking play,
and if he can't get it to Bijan, now the defense says, all right, if we can, we've talked about this over the last couple of weeks. What they've been doing is take away Bijan. Now they can't stop Drake if they're so focused on taking away Bijan.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, it's like they will start focusing on that.
Yeah.
And so you have to get other guys involved the way that Kirk Cousins did.
Yeah.
And Kirk Cousins even ran for a first down. And did you see that? When he
Old-ass Kirk Cousins.
He knocked into that
Kirk
motherfucker,
Cousins.
man.
Yeah.
He was not playing around.
But I'll tell you,
he didn't come away like hurt. He wasn't looking for a flag or anything. He was just
I'm
taking this shit, bitch.
Michael Penix is not the only quarterback who has not been able to transition under center, though. Here's the thing: there's a lot of quarterbacks, and I did some research. And when I say their name, it'll kind of resonate.
I'm not going to like this list, and I already know it.
Well, there are some quarterbacks that have never fully transitioned to playing under center, and these are current quarterbacks.
Names.
You got Tua, you got Kyler Murray, you got Burrow. Early on in his career, had a lot of trouble struggling to convert. I mean, to transition.
But you said
to
never
center.
Transitioned to under.
No, okay.
Burrow did.
But you also got Bryce Young, who has trouble being under center, and then
all quarterbacks that I don't want.
And then there's Baker Mayfield in certain systems, who's had a lot of trouble playing under center. But then you have guys who can turn it around and who can make the jump. You got Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, CJ Stroud. They have learned how to go from that to play under center. Because I feel like in college,
I'd be more excited about having those guys than any of the guys you just named, other than Baker Mayfield.
Well,
I'm serious.
So you don't want Baker Mayfield?
No, I'm saying Baker Mayfield is one of the names that you said that, like, I would say, yes, I would like to have him.
Yeah. But also, when you look at college ball, there's not a lot of college teams that play strictly under center. So it is a big learning curve when you get to the NFL. But that's right. what rookie camp is for. That's what training camp's for. And that's why we need to go back to
preseason's for.
But that's why we need to go back to the way things used to be, because this is what happens when you draft a rookie quarterback and you immediately make him a starter and he's not developing behind a veteran quarterback. And it keeps happening more and more in the league. They draft this guy. He's immediately the fucking starter. He's going to answer all of our problems. Nope. Keep your shitty veteran quarterback for a little bit so this guy can at least learn how to play under center.
Yeah, exactly. And let's say that we did stick with Kirk even through the injury and all that, or like we let Mike Penix come in after he got injured last year. And then, Raheem Morris said, I know, everyone's excited about the rookie. And he looked pretty good at the end of last season. Let's say everything last season happened the way that it happened. But you say, you know what, but we're still going with Kirk. He's our starting quarterback. And the big headlines would be like, oh, it's because they spent all this money on him and that now that they have to, and there'd be all this controversy about that. But the idea would be exactly what you're talking about. We want to develop our young quarterback. We want to do the Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love thing. We want to do the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers thing. You know, we want to do, you know, the Tom Brady thing. Like that's what we want. The Drew Bledsoe to Tom Brady. But they completely abandoned that. And now it's like what we saw on Sunday is like, wow, it's starting to look like you guys made the wrong decision. Kirk was hurt last year. He can still play. Now, the Saints do suck ass. And let's see what they do against the Jets because they suck ass too. Like,
yeah,
let's start banking up a couple wins. Who knows what happens next week? Like, Baker's going to be out next week. We know that. What if they lose and we get another game on? We're only 2 games behind Tampa. We're 1 game behind Carolina.
And see, that's the problem with this. And
we play Tampa again, and Baker may not be back then.
And it's not the problem with the NFC South. It's just the situation with the NFC South is like if Kirk Cousins can come in and then Drake London can get healthy, and like we might, in a weird way.
And remember, Kirk hasn't played. He hasn't started a game with Drake London this year. He started that Dolphins game, and Drake London wasn't there. Granted, Kirk looked bad that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when he took over after Penix went out against Carolina last week, he looked bad then too. But maybe he's starting to say like, okay, well, I am the starter. I'm about to shove it up these motherfuckers' ass and show them why I should have never been benched in the first place. Y'all should let me play out my fucking contract.
What if he just goes out with a bang? What if like all of a sudden we're NFC?
I hope
South
he does because I don't want to give LA a good draft pick. You know, I don't want to tank this season. Like there's literally nothing in it for us to tank this season. Like going out and running the table is the best thing we can do. If you don't make the playoffs, clearly Raheem and Zach Robinson and the gang are going to be here till the end of the season. But if we don't make the playoffs, you guys are out. Period. Yeah. You're done. And I'm tired of hearing like, there's a couple things that Raheem Morris has said about like, oh, we're going to have to figure this out in the offseason. It's like, no, bitch. No, you won't.
You need to figure it out right now.
No, you won't.
You need to figure it out right now because you're not going to be here in the offseason.
That's what I'm hoping.
But it might.
I'm hoping Black Monday, like right after we miss the playoffs, which I still feel like we will, and mathematically we're still in. And like I just told you, like we're 2 games behind Tampa Bay, and things are looking really bad for them. And Carolina doesn't scare anyone, and we don't have to play them again.
But that's the thing I was saying. Like that's how scary it is mathematically. Is like all of a sudden we're in this. Like all of a sudden, if Kirk Cousins keep playing like this, we're in it. Now, granted, it was against the Saints, and like I said, moving forward, we play the Jets, and like you're saying, the Jets are a suck ass team. They are a suck ass team, but they're suck ass in the point that
they took it to the Ravens for a while.
And that's what I'm saying. That's where the problem lies is like they're suck ass in the point to where like once they start fucking up, they can't stop. I feel like if they practice really hard and they just get a good game plan together and they figure something out, they could potentially beat us. Like straight up, they could.
Without a doubt. I mean, I was saying last week, like, don't be shocked when the Saints beat us because I felt that bad about the Falcons. That's where we were. Kirk Cousins looked so bad. And you know what? But and let's go ahead and shift gears on this conversation. And let's be real NFL heads. Let's not just talk about the quarterbacks, man. Let's talk about that motherfucking defense.
There we go. That's what I was waiting for.
Divine Diablo came back. We lost every game that he was out for. Yeah. He comes back wearing a club, and this defense looks night and day. Like, is he the real glue guy?
Did I not call that, though? Did I not tell you?
We both did.
Did I not tell you a couple of weeks ago, like, watch him come back wearing a fucking club?
Oh, you definitely said that. Yeah. You said that. But I said, like, in the San Francisco game when he got hurt, it was like the defense looked completely different. Because remember, when he got hurt in that San Francisco game, like, we were shutting him down. But he got hurt near the end of the first quarter, and all of a sudden, Christian McCaffrey had everything he wanted going up the middle. Mm-hmm. And then Jonathan Taylor, weeks later, had everything he wanted going up the middle. It's like everyone knew that that's what it was. And we had J.D. Bertrand out there. By the way, J.D. Bertrand didn't play very much this game because Divine Diablo was back. And we were even running some 3 linebacker sets like on stuff. It was just like, okay. Like,
not even that. Divine Diablo comes back and Alvin Kamara gets hurt. Just saying.
Not that. I mean, maybe not a coincidence. Maybe not a coincidence. But the pressure that the defense had, these young guys, man, and it's like I know I talked a ton of shit about Terry Fontenot last week, and this is like it's not the only good thing I can say about him, but him trading away that pick, it sucks that like we're losing it. We're giving away like probably a pretty nice pick to the Rams. But James Pierce and Jalen Walker, like that has worked out. They are the two leading rookie pass rushers in the league right now. They have more sacks than any rookie pass rusher in the league. Both of them, not just one of them, both of them. So that worked out. So if you were going to just look at it this way, it's like, okay, this year we're going to get a pass rusher in the top 20. And you get Jalen Walker, and then next year you get James Pierce instead of trading it off. It's like, that's basically what we did. And it's now, paying off.
Let me ask you this too. If we were to trade away Kyle Pitts or release him or do whatever we can as we should, who should we get in his place? Because I don't
know who's out there, man. So it'd be hard for me to say.
But as far as
next week,
like,
let's come back to that question because I'll look up to see like who's going to be a free agent tight end wise next year.
But also as far as you know, second string tight ends, like our guy, I think if we just have a guy that goes out there and blocks and just runs the routes he's supposed to instead of trying to be a receiver. Yeah, that's what Charlie Warner
does. But he's not a great like catching tight end. But
I'm at the point now where I don't want a catching tight end. I just want a tight end that's a motherfucking tight end, and we throw him the ball twice a fucking game, and he catches it for a first down. That's all the fuck I want.
We've got that guy, Charlie Warner, and honestly,
that's who we need.
Well, so he had a lot more success when Arthur Smith was here because the run game looked like whenever he was out there. When we first got him, it was like that was the success, like the key to success for the run game. And I think once we got Zach Robinson, it started to look like if defenses saw Charlie Warner out there, they're like, it's a run play.
Yeah.
It's one of those like tipping things because we don't use Charlie Warner enough in the pass game. Like we don't even ask him to like do pass coverage that much. You know, it's just like run block and chipping. You know what I mean?
That's all I want out of a tight end. That's all I fucking want.
You just need to be able to do the pass plays with him as well. And I think that Zach Robinson's problem is that he doesn't. He's like, if it's a pass play, we're going to have Kyle Pitts out there.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's just call Tim Tebow, dude. I'm sure he wants to play again.
Is he going to play tight end for us?
Yeah, let's have him.
Why not? He was on a podcast that I liked last week. Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz.
He's a weird dude.
I need to listen to it. Yeah, he's a very weird dude.
He's a weird dude.
He had some interesting stories. You know, he went to college. He played college with Aaron Hernandez, the infamous Aaron Hernandez tight end, who died in prison after murdering two people.
Yep, that guy.
Yeah, played with Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski.
No. The thing is, not only that Florida Gators team was wild because it had Aaron Hernandez. It also had the Pouncey twins on there.
Yep. And Tebow.
And Tebow, good old Christian Tebow, fucking doing circumcisions in the Philippines, fucking Tim Tebow, that guy. Dude,
Tim, whenever you want to get on the podcast, you give us a call, man.
Yeah, dude, let's talk about that. But so I mentioned Alvin Kamara earlier, and I've always got to wonder, like, Alvin Kamara's got to be in a weird position, like personal life wise, because he's from Atlanta. Like he's an Atlanta dude. Yeah. So that means he grew up in Atlanta. More than likely, he grew up a Falcons fan, which means he's got plenty of people in his family and in his inner circle that are Falcons fans. But then he ends up playing for the fucking New Orleans Saints.
So they got to completely change sides, man. Yeah, that's my mom have talked about that before. She was just like, yeah, if you ever played, like you played for the Saints, I'm not sure how excited I could get.
No, I wouldn't be excited. If I was a player that got drafted to the Saints, I would just be begging my manager, like, is there any way I can just like get released or they can trade me? Like, please, I do not want to suit up for this fucking team.
Oh, but you better sign that first contract. You better get in the game. Yeah, you better get in the game.
You don't really have a fucking choice.
And say no to teams. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, if he plays like he did this week every Sunday, it may have actually worked out for him,
Nah, he's still going to be a Cleveland Brown. And that sucks.
I mean, Baker Mayfield was a Cleveland Brown, and, never mind. Baker Mayfield's season's pretty much done.
Well, Baker still made a nice career out of himself if he stopped playing tomorrow, which he won't.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. I don't. It's one of those things. It's like you try to be optimistic, you try to be happy, but it's like, okay, like, is the rug just going to be pulled out from under us next week? Like, is this something to get excited for?
Of course it is.
But like, I'm going to continue this season as a Falcons fan with what I would like to call hopeful pessimism. Like,
Okay.
I'm hopeful that they'll pull it out, but I'm not very optimistic about it, you know?
Yeah, I call it cautious optimism. Even though
Oh, okay.
I mean, kind of the same thing. It's like, yes, it's still possible, but how many seasons over the last like 5 years have we like gotten to like the game on Christmas Eve, and it's like, yeah, technically we'll still be in it if we win this game, but we're getting our ass kicked, or
And then we
like,
get blown out.
or last week we were still in it, but we lost that game because if you look at our schedule, it looks pretty easy, but we still have to face the Seahawks. Like you can beat the Saints and you can beat the Bucks. I forget, and the Jets, but like, say you lose to the Seahawks, like might be the only game,
dude.
And you got to play the Rams, so you got at least one loss ahead of you.
Yeah,
but if you run the table, absolutely, it's still
wouldn't
alive.
It be some shit? Wouldn't it be some fucking shit if Kirk Cousins beats Matthew Stafford?
That would be crazy. I mean, he put up fucking 500 yards against Tampa Bay last year.
That was Tampa Bay, though. That wasn't Matt Stafford.
It wasn't the Rams. It wasn't the Rams. But if he puts up 500 yards, he'll be able to compete with Matt Stafford. Now, that is a very tall task.
If you put up 500 yards and you don't win the game, I don't know what to say, bro.
Yeah, it's got to be because your defense like gave up some like massive plays like they did against Jonathan Taylor.
But also, if you put up 500 yards and you don't win, that's got to be a fucking like that's got to be like a 50-point game on both sides.
You would think. Yeah, you would think. Well, what if you have 500 yards and 3 interceptions?
Oof. Yeah, that's happened to me in Madden before.
Yeah, well, yeah, that sounds like a crazy fictional game. But yeah. But who knows, man? Who knows? I mean, I bet, and I don't know, I'm going to go ahead and look. Sorry, I got to look shit up during the podcast, but I want to see if that's a home game or not.
All of our listeners don't mind when you do this.
I want to get it right, guys. And I also want to see, like, is this a game that I want to be going to?
You want me to cover Chicago real quick for your fucking father-in-law?
Yeah, go ahead, because he might listen.
Okay. Fuck Chicago. I'm done.
Well, you heard it here first, folks.
Fuck the Cubs. Right. Fuck the White Sox. Fuck the Blackhawks. Fuck fucking the Bears. Fuck all of them.
Yep.
The only cool thing about Chicago is Kuma's Burgers. And so if you're ever in Chicago, eat at Kuma's fucking Burgers because all of their burgers are named after heavy metal bands and their food's cool as fuck. And the bean is just a weird fucking mirror.
Yeah, what's up with the fucking bean, man? Why is that a tourist attraction? All right, anyway, so here's the Falcons schedule for the rest of the year. So we got the 2-9 Jets next Sunday in New York. Then we have Seahawks at home. And then we have at Buccaneers, which may not, that's a Thursday night game. And it being a Thursday night game, I doubt that they rush Baker back. If Baker doesn't play that week before, I doubt he comes into play on a short week on Thursday night. Then you got the Cardinals, very winnable.
Well, they're saying Baker should be out for 2 to 3.
Okay, so if he's out for 2, I'm going to say he's going to be out for 3 because, again, if he's out for 2 and it's like, and then he comes back on short week to play on Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really see that happening. I'd be willing to bet that Baker doesn't play that game. And we honestly, like, here on Tuesday, we don't know the extent of this injury. They haven't really figured all that out.
We don't know
that's what I heard
until tomorrow.
Too. Right. So then we've got Cardinals, which is winnable. That's in Arizona, though. Then we have the Rams, which, look, the Rams may have tied up their division and they're thinking about resting players. Who knows what happens? That's the second to last game of the season.
Well, that's
and
true.
And then after New Year's, we've got the Saints, who because I think we've proven that they'll be at home.
You did bring up a very good point because right now the Rams sit at 9-2, and let's think by the time they get to us, they could potentially be 14-2, 13-2.
You get to 12, 13 wins, man. You got a nice playoff spot. I mean, I know they're looking for a first round bye, but
like what you just mentioned could happen. Like they might just play Matt Stafford for the first quarter, something like that, and then be like, okay, if the Falcons win, they win, no big deal,
Yeah, exactly. And depending on what's going on in their division, like let's say that the Niners slow down a little bit, they get beat, and in the next 4 weeks they lose 1 or 2 games. Like they may be able to have some cushion and say like second to last game of the season, not taking it that serious, not really that worried about it. I don't know what their last game of the season is, but like maybe it's a cupcake, and they go, we're going to rest all of our players for that one, especially if they beat us.
Yeah, you're right.
They would, but who knows? Like that's the way the NFL goes, and especially you go into a first round bye, it's like, why not give our veterans 2 weeks off straight?
Yeah, man. I mean, we'll see what happens. It's going to be exciting. Stranger Things have happened, so we'll see.
That's right. Stranger Things season 5 comes out tomorrow.
Oh,
watch the documentary, by the way. Watch the documentary because you might see your boy in there.
Are you in the documentary?
Yeah, someone. I probably shouldn't say on the podcast, but a plaster guy that he had access to at least some of the screenshots from it and sent it to me. And there's at least a screenshot of me in the documentary. So keep an eye out if you watch it.
So you got to do season 5. We worked together on season 4, but when season 5 rolled around, I was working on the movie Bad Boys, the last Bad Boys movie. And then after I finished that, I had an opening to go to Stranger Things, but you guys were on the tail end of it. So I ended up doing this show called Teacup. And then right after that, I did the second season of Peacemaker. And by the time I was done with Peacemaker, y'all were completely wrapped.
Yep. And we may have another show in the books. I heard a little rumor of. I'll talk about after off air, but
yeah, we can't talk about any of this online. Do you understand? Like, for anybody who's listening, do you understand that, like, even saying that I was involved with Stranger Things in the first place gave me like anxiety? Because to be a crew member on that show, I had to sign like 7 fucking NDAs. They had people whose entire job, they had like a staff of like 20 people whose entire job was to look up the crew list and look up each individual member and go to their social media every day and make sure we didn't say anything about our involvement with the show. And if you did, you got fired and you got sued. So
yeah. Oh yeah, no, and me and Joey know guys that like would take a selfie like at work, like with the set behind them, and like you wouldn't even know what show they're on, but because the set is behind them, even if it's just a fucking concrete wall, the big boss would get notified and you get scolded for it. And it's, you realize I got to stick up for this. Otherwise you're going to lose your job. You're going to get blackballed out of the business.
Yeah. It would be like, pull out your phone and delete that in front of me right the fuck now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. You're in the office. It's like, listen, man, what's on your phone is on you. But if you don't do that now, I can't stick up for you anymore.
Yep. Yeah.
They're very serious about that shit. Yeah. And dude, every time that I did a podcast last night for the my buddy's podcast. Shout out Heavy Metal History Podcast. Everybody check out the end of the year episode coming out first week of December. He was like, as soon as we got the podcast, he was like, dude, I was going to press you about Stranger Things. Try and give me some spoilers. I was like, I
wouldn't be able to talk about it.
Wasn't happening. Yeah. Cause it's like, yeah, sure. I could give you a little Easter egg and it'll be a fun time. And you would get excitement out of that. And then I would get sued for fucking, $10, $20, $30,000.
Dude. People who are outside of the industry don't even understand. So in season 4, there was a character who passed away, and the only people who knew about it were the people who were working on set that day. And those people had to sign an additional NDA. So I wasn't working on set that day. So the on-set carpenter, I kept pressing him, and he was like, look, if I tell you who died last night while we were filming, I will get fired and I will get sued.
I've had people text me about that because I worked with them on set that day, and I was like, dude, I wouldn't be texting me that. And like, you must really trust me. And he's like, well, you signed the NDA too. And it's like, yeah, but I can say that you said it. you know?
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, eventually the cat was out of the bag because I was working in the construction and paint department, and I watched them paint the tombstone. So I quickly put 2 and 2 together, but
yeah, I was working on location this year, and it was like they were setting up a memorial for some characters, and they're like, "What character is it? What character is it?" I went to a little ice cream shop after work. Like, it was hot as fuck that day. It was in like July, and they saw that I was like wearing Stranger Things shirt or something, and a little girl working there was just asking me, and she's like, "Is it Max? Is it Eddie? Is it this person? Is it this person?" And I was just like, "It's none of the people that you just named." That's all I can say. And I didn't actually know at the time. I was just like, "I'll tell you that whatever you said is wrong, and I didn't tell you anything."
Yeah, but he's going to tell me after we get off air. So let's go ahead and do that.
Everybody dies. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
Thank you guys for listening. Like I said, this is going to come out on Thanksgiving. If you listen on Thanksgiving, you're a trooper. But there's going to be so many things going on because you might be catching up with Stranger Things. You might be watching these games. At 1 p.m., you got Green Bay Packers versus Detroit Lions on Fox. At 4:30, you got Kansas City Chiefs versus the Dallas Cowboys, which could shape up to be a good game. That's going to be on CBS. And then at 8:20, you got the Bengals versus the Ravens. So
I think I know how
peace be with you. Yeah. We love you guys.
Listen to the track. Greens, beans, potatoes, tomatoes. You better do it.
Oh, you better be cooking all those things too. Let's rise up. Check us out on A-Town Rundown on YouTube. You can also find us on Instagram. You can check out Jeremy's band Sunmancer. One day me and Jeremy are going to start a hardcore band that takes over the world, but we're not ready for that yet. Not quite yet, but we will get there. But thank you guys. Tune in next week and we'll talk about all these games coming up, everything we just mentioned, and we'll see you guys next Thursday.
Rise up.